He bought it for a song. Literally. The antique shop was a labyrinth of forgotten treasures, smelling of old paper and dust. Its owner was a blind old man with skin like parchment, who seemed to be a relic himself. The old man asked not for money, but for a memory. Julian hummed a simple folk tune, one his younger sister Maya used to love. And for that melody, the deal was struck. Back in his studio, Julian unveiled his prize, the Elysian. 72 clockwork musicians, each a masterpiece of porcelain and gleaming brass. He felt a strange sense of reverence as he turned the master key. A cascade of delicate clicks echoed, 1,000 hidden springs coming to life. In perfect, chilling unison, the figures raised their instruments. And then, they played. The music was impossibly, achingly beautiful. It was a symphony that felt like a half-remembered dream, plucking forgotten joys and sorrows from his soul. Utterly enchanted, Julian fell asleep in his armchair, the melody weaving itself into his subconscious. When he awoke, the music had stopped. A profound peace filled the room. He passed the mantelpiece where a framed photograph of his family sat. He froze. A cold spike of wrongness shot through him. The photo felt empty. He was certain his sister Maya always stood right there, her arm linked with his. But now there was only a blank, empty space beside him in the picture. A creeping dread washed over him. He snatched his phone, his fingers trembling. He searched for her contact. It didn't exist. With a shaking hand, he called his mother, his heart hammering against his ribs. "Mom," he whispered. "I can't find Maya's number." There was a long, confusing pause on the other end. "Who?" his mother finally asked. "Julian, honey, are you all right? You don't have a sister." He hung up the phone, the world tilting violently on its axis. She wasn't just gone from his life. She was gone from history. She was erased. His horrified eyes darted to the orchestra. The conductor's baton was a fraction lower than before. He realized with a surge of pure terror that the music hadn't stopped. The symphony was a countdown, playing at a speed the real world couldn't perceive. Frantic, Julian dove into research, searching for the name Silas Crowe, the maker. He found whispers online of a 19th century genius obsessed with perfection. Crowe believed a captured moment, a perfect emotion, could last forever. He found a digitized newspaper archive from 1888, a review of the Elysian's only public performance. The critic wrote of a hauntingly beautiful melody, but he also noted that several audience members left in a state of profound, inexplicable grief. They were weeping for loved ones they could not name. The performance was shut down. Julian finally understood. Each movement of the symphony targeted a person and surgically removed them from reality. The first movement took his sister. What would the second take? He tried to fight it. He pulled the master key, but a ghostly melody continued to play in his head. He swung a heavy hammer at a violinist, but it passed straight through the automaton like a hologram. The Elysian was no longer just a machine. It was a paradox, a curse. For a sleepless week, he watched the conductor's arm, a slow metronome marking the erasure of his life. Then, the ghostly music in his mind began to swell again. The second movement was beginning. He felt a wrenching, visceral grief for someone he couldn't place. He looked at a photo of his best friend, Liam. Blank space. He was the only one who remembered. His entire world was unraveling, song by song. Desperate, he returned to the antique shop's location. In its place stood a brick wall that looked a century old. The shop had erased itself too. He was chasing a ghost. He found the answer back in his studio, inside a hidden compartment in the conductor's podium. It was the private journal of Silas Crowe. The pages revealed a beautiful, horrifying madness. Crowe hadn't created a weapon. In his twisted mind, he had created a sanctuary. He believed the music didn't destroy souls. It preserved them. It took a person from the flawed, chaotic real world and gave them a new, perfect existence, as a musician in his orchestra. The final entry chilled Julian to the bone. "My masterpiece is nearly complete, but it lacks a heart. It needs a listener. The final movement will not erase, it will invite. The conductor will finally have his audience." Julian stared at the conductor automaton. Its serene porcelain face now looked like a predatory mask. He wasn't just losing his past. The final note was meant for him. With dawning horror, he noticed two newer-looking figures among the musicians. He stumbled closer, peering at the girl playing the violin. Her face was porcelain, but her eyes were Maya's. He was living in a mausoleum, a tomb of his own making. The music in his head rose to a painful crescendo. The third movement. His parents vanished from his memory, from reality. Now only the finale remained. The conductor's baton began its final inexorable rise. He couldn't destroy the machine, he had to break the spell. Crow was obsessed with perfection. The answer had to be imperfection. He scrambled through his old belongings and found it. A small, cheap tin music box. It was a gift from Maya, from a childhood that now only he remembered. He wound it up. It played a clumsy, off-key, "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star." As the conductor's arm reached its zenith, ready to strike, Julian opened the box. The tinny, imperfect melody filled the room. It was a sour, ugly, beautifully human note. The perfect, soulless music of the orchestra faltered, screeching like a machine fed an unsolvable equation. The conductor's arm trembled. The two melodies, one of soul-stealing perfection, the other of flawed human love, battled in the air. With a final agonizing screech of metal, the Elysian fell silent. The conductor's arm froze, inches from its final beat. Julian had survived. The final note would never be played. But his victory was hollow. The erasures were permanent. He was utterly alone, the sole warden of a silent orchestra of stolen souls. He walked to the automaton with his sister's eyes. He saw a single, perfect porcelain tear trace a clean path through the dust on its cheek. He had saved himself, but in doing so, he had damned them to an eternity of silence. The story of Julian and the Elysian is a haunting warning about the price of perfection, and the profound beauty found in our most imperfect memories. If this tale struck a chord with you, please hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a story from our collection. Now we want to hear from you. What piece of music is so tied to a memory that it feels like a part of your own story? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for listening. Be careful what melodies you let into your head. Some of them never leave, they just wait for their audience. And for you, the concert is about to begin.